Ranade, Gandhi and Jinnah by Babasaheb Ambedkar. This is an address delivered on the 101st birthday celebration of Mahadev Govind Ranade, held on the 18th of January 1943 in the Gokhale Memorial Hall, Pune. First published 1943, reprinted from the first edition of 1943. Preface. The Deccan Sabha of Pune invited me to deliver an address on the 101st birthday of the late Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, which it proposed to celebrate and which fell on the 18th of January 1940. I was not very willing to accept the invitation, for I knew that my views on social and political problems, the discussion of which would not be avoided in a discourse on Ranade, would not be very pleasing to the audience and even perhaps to the members of the Deccan Sabha. In the end, I accepted their invitation. At the time when I delivered the address, I had no intention of publishing it. Addresses delivered on anniversaries of great men are generally occasional pieces. They do not have much permanent value. I did not think that my address was an exception to this, but I have some troublesome friends who have been keen on seeing the whole of it in print and have been insisting upon it. I am indifferent to the idea. I am quite content with the publicity it has received, that I have no desire to seek more. At the same time, if there are people who think that it is worthy of being rescued from falling into oblivion, I do not see any reason for disappointing them. The address as printed differs from the address as delivered in two respects. Section 10 of the address was omitted from the address as delivered to prevent the performance going beyond reasonable time. Even without it, it took 1 hour and a half to deliver the address. This is one difference. The other difference lies in the omission of a large portion of Section 8, which was devoted to a comparison of Ranade with Phule. For the omission, there are two reasons. In the first place, the comparison was not sufficiently full and detailed to do justice to the two men. In the second place, when the difficulties of finding enough paper compelled me to sacrifice some portion of the address, this appeared to be the best offering. The publication of the address is taking place under peculiar circumstances. Ordinarily, reviews follow publication. In this case, the situation is reversed. What is worse is that the reviews have condemned the address in scathing terms. This is a matter primarily for the publishers to worry about. I am happy that the publisher knows the risk and he takes it. Nothing more need be said about it, except that it supports the view taken by my friends that the address contains matter which is of more than ephemeral value. As for myself, I am not in the least perturbed by the condemnation of this address by the press. What is the ground for its condemnation, and who has come forward to condemn it? I am condemned because I criticized Mr. Gandhi and Mr. Jinnah for the mess they have made of Indian politics, and that in doing so I am alleged to have shown towards them hatred and disrespect. In reply to this charge, what I have to say is that I have been a critic and I must continue to be such. It may be I am making mistakes, but I have always felt that it is better to make mistakes than to accept guidance and direction from others or to sit silently and allow things to deteriorate. Those who have accused me of having been actuated by feelings of hatred forget two things. In the first place, this alleged hatred is not born of anything that can be called personal. If I am against them, it is because I want a settlement. I want a settlement of some sort, and I am not prepared to wait for an ideal settlement. Nor can I tolerate anyone on whose will and consent settlement depends to stand on dignity and train the grand mogul. In the second place, no one can hope to make any effective mark upon his time and bring the aid that is worth bringing to great principles and struggling causes if he is not strong in his love and in his hatred. I hate injustice, tyranny, pompousness, and humbug, and my hatred embraces all those who are guilty of them. I want to tell my critics that I regard my feelings of hatred as a real force. They are only the reflex of the love I bear for the causes I believe in, and I am in no wise ashamed of it. For these reasons, I tender no apology for my criticism of Mr. Gandhi and Mr. Jinnah, the two men who have brought India's political progress to a standstill. The condemnation is by the Congress press. I know the Congress press well. I attach no value to its criticism. It has never refuted my arguments. It only knows to criticize, rebuke, and revile me for everything I do, and to misreport, misrepresent, and pervert everything I say. Nothing that I do pleases the Congress press. This animosity of the Congress press towards me can, to my mind, not unfairly be explained as a reflex of the hatred of the Hindus for the untouchables. That their animosity has become personal is clear from the fact that the Congress press feels offended for my having criticized Mr. Jinnah, who has been the butt and the target of the Congress for the last several years. However strong and however filthy be the abuses which the Congress press chooses to shower on me, I must do my duty. I am no worshipper of idols. I believe in breaking them. I insist that if I hate Mr. Gandhi and Mr. Jinnah, I dislike them. I do not hate them. It is because I love India more. That is the true faith of a nationalist. I have hopes that my countrymen will someday learn that the country is greater than the men, that the worship of Mr. Gandhi or Mr. Jinnah in service to India are two very different things and may even be contradictory of each other. 22nd Prithviraj Road, New Delhi, 15th March 1943. B.R. Ambedkar. The end.